Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Education Post COVID-19 with me, Mausam Arora. Welcome on board, and it's a pleasure to have you with me for this interview.
So nice of you, and it's my pleasure to be connected with you, like educationists, those who are doing wonders in the education industry, and I feel privileged to connect with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the appreciation. Sir, before I start the interview, I want a short introduction from your side about yourself. I know it's a big list, but a little bit so that everybody knows about it.
Born and brought up in a teacher family. It's what I can say that the teaching or teacher type of profession is there in my blood. I started my profession career from my hometown at Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I basically belong to that place. After working for around 14 years, then as a PGT biology, I started my career. Then I became in a young age, at the age of 28, 29, I became the principal of a school. It's wow. You can see the achievement is only due to the firm determination and commitment to the particular profession.
So that I absolutely agree. I mean, you are one of the rare few who are working 16 hours in a day during this time.
Yes, this is passion. When you have interest, when you have passion to do something, I think nothing will become an hindrance in your way of working. So I love it, and whole credit goes to my father, who is actually a teacher, who was retired as a principal in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. So it is, as I said, everyone is in the field of education itself. Then after that, moving from my hometown, then I went to St. Xavier's group of schools, which were there at Bilaspur. There I stayed for 6 to 7 years. Then I worked with DPS, which is a very good brand school at Madhya Pradesh. So there also I worked for 6 to 7 years. And then now I am at a Doon group of schools. It has around 24, 25 schools in India. I look after the academical part of all the schools. As well as I'll take care of one school which is located near Mathura or Agra, which is the place called Hathras, Doon Public School, Hathras. There I am as a senior principal of that school. That is a founding, you can say, the founder principal of that school itself. Beside this, I am associated with CBSE since long because I am into training and assessment. So training is a part and parcel. My mission is to empower all the educators of the country. So I am the resource person of CBSE, and we have a specific training and assessment unit also, which is called a School Network Initiative, where we have almost connected all the states of India, and we have almost 3,500 plus principals associated with this, whose mission is only to empower school educators of the country. That's a small journey. I believe long way to go.
Priyadarshi sir, please also tell about CED Foundation in a very, in very few words. I really want people to know.
Yes, CED Foundation, it is basically a forum of school principals, and we have associated a lot of educators are associated in this, and the mission and vision is only, there are certain educative things which need to be incorporated in India. We have collaborated with various ministries outside the country too, and we are now connected with people from Canada also, so that we can uplift the education standard of the country, and we are associated with all the boards and all the education fraternity, where some of the other people interested to work for the development of the schools and development of the school educators. That is the forum, and I think all over, you can say, the educationists, the directors of the boards, and the various people, those who have inclination to learn something, those who believe that lifelong learning is a practical aspect of their life. We used to connect with them, as I am a lifelong learner. So we believe to connect all lifelong learners of the country.
Right. So, sir, moving on to my first question, what do you how are you continuing education in your school during this time? And in general, how will this period change the complete landscape of school education, not just in India, but the entire world?
You see, with related to the present pandemic or COVID-19, you can say it is a prolonged strategy which is happening all over the country, and the whole world is suffering for this crisis. And I believe this a particular pandemic has a lot of way by which we need to gain up certain things in the field of education, and the connection between somewhere, I believe, the connection between heart and mind is need to be need to be connected, by which you can get the best energy out of it. And we need to keep I can say today the corona has to be made negative, and but not our mind always should be a positive, and we should have a tendency to keep the corona negative in our body. And in that case, a lot of things are happening all over the world, and the learning calendar, if at all you talk about my school in the present scenario, the learning calendar will now include a group of diverse commitment or constituents to develop a new cloud-based online learning, which is happening nowadays in each and every school. Of course, these platforms may not take the replacement of a teacher, or may not take the replacement of a face-to-face workshop. But I basically believe that there is no other choice, putting up and staying at home and connecting people from home. So
Right.
this is the best method by which we are doing it, and hopefully the methods which are carried out by each and every school, there are a lot of ways by which we can connect children. And basically, I feel that children should not be isolated. Children need to be connected. Parents need to be connected with the school. And the teaching and learning process, if it has a gap, then it may create a, later on a, space will be created by which the children will be the worst sufferer. So
Right.
I believe that the trend which is happening at present, so you need to accept it, and we will follow the instructions by the board or the education systems, and accordingly school need to function.
Right. And keeping in mind that the effects of this COVID-19 are not going to go anytime soon. So, and digital learning is going to be the future. It's the learning is going to be blended, both online and offline, and online becoming a bigger percentage now. So, how do you think that the education can be made more learner centric? Because I've talked to many principals till now, and one thing I've really analyzed, that though everybody is taking Zoom classes, but somehow they are not that effective, because
I
it's very difficult to keep the attention of students, and also, it's really difficult. So how can it be made more learner centric and children learn more, get more, it becomes more effective?
You see, there are a lot of ways by which we can connect from home, and that is basically called as homeschooling. And if at all you talk about my child, somewhere the other parents need to take up interest and connect with the child itself at home. So homeschooling concept has to come up. If at all we all follow, what is exactly the homeschooling concept? There are few, education institutions. If I go for NIOS, if I go for a Cambridge, people only they need to study at home and then they give examinations. So
Right.
that is called actually homeschooling. So I
Int-
think this.
Interestingly, I'm homeschooling my both kids, one daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and 4-year-old son, 3.5-year-old.
That's lovely. I think that is the only best way. And this, when you are, you have to some way or the other connect with the school, or you need to accept the guidelines of the board. And some way or the other, people, they do not get connected by, by the parents cannot connect with the child itself at home. The learning does not happen. And I really accepted that, these online classes, when you talk about online classes, the connectivity, the way the teachers take in the classes at general classes, and when you compare with the classes through online, it has a lot of difference. And let me give you a statistical data that in India, almost 9 lakh schools are there, those who are in the rural areas. Can you connect those children through online, or can the
Absolutely.
parents connect, get the internet connection? It's not possible. So
Right.
I believe that homeschooling concept, if at all it is planned out by the parents itself, or there are certain, if at all some low band internet connections are also available, you can go with the Google Drive. In the Google Drive, some pictures, some videos, these all maximum can be posted to the parents, so that in the meantime, whenever the internet connection is available, or you have a proper connection facility, then these things can be shown. But as simultaneously, when you talk about an urban area, you have around 3 lakhs schools in India, and those also, as everyone wants online learning. So yesterday also we had a conversation with around 35 students of all over the country, and
Right.
they also suggested, children are more tech savvy than the teachers. Even if in my
Right.
school, teachers were not knowing how to connect, but students were more techno savvy. They become very happy when they see a friend sitting in front of them and chatting. That is always there. So I think the process, if at all somewhere connectivity is available, so let that process go on. But simultaneously, there should be some methods to be added. As I told you, homeschooling, which can be a best example for the parent to continue. There are a lot of videos which a teacher can himself prepare and send it through the Google Drive, where a low internet connection facility, if it is there, that also is possible, that can be done. So standardly, I can tell you, there should be a standard operating procedure which will be completely redesigned by the maybe the education department, maybe NCRT, maybe by the schools. A new standard policy and procedure to be developed to ensure that a social distancing will be made, and as well as these teaching practices to be planned.
Right. So two things which stand out for me is homeschooling. In homeschooling, the role of parents and the responsibility becomes more. And now every parent has to take on that responsibility. Right. And second, the most important skill which needs to be taught to students is probably the self-learning, becoming self-learners. Because
Yes,
now they cannot be danda all the time on students. It becomes their responsibility. Right.
correct,
So
absolutely.
going on to my next question, I believe COVID-19 has, brought the technology. The onset of the technology has come 5 years earlier than what was expected because of COVID-19. Now I talk about robotics, IoT, and AI, which have become buzzwords nowadays everywhere. What do you think?
Yes.
Uh, is that education on these technologies important for students? If yes, then how are you planning this in your school?
As far as when you talk about these aspects of AI, artificial intelligence, or IoT, I will tell you, according to my school, when AI was not implemented by the board, even if I can tell you I am working in a CBSE affiliated school. So CBSE board has not incorporated this curriculum in CBSE. Before that only, I have started my AI workshops, AI conferences all over India. And
Amazing.
once, because I thought that, I personally think it is a fantastic world of science and beyond. When this is a world of science and beyond, it has inspired me, and it inspires all learners to think outside the box. When you think outside the box, there is a form of view entirely different from the textbook. So something it is beyond the textbook, something it is done. So I believe our world is ever changing, and we must adapt and change into it. Or within that, we need to have change of thinking into it. So I have, I was in my school or in my district. My school is the first school who has implemented or who has applied to CBSU to get the affiliation for AI, and we got that subject also. And AI is now in my school as a subject we are teaching to the children from class 9th onwards.
Great.
And
So,
I believe the robotics, AI, as I told you, it's something children are very scientific, very mechanical, and children they love to do all these things. And I believe every subject has somewhere or the other integration is there. So I want AI subject to be taken up by each and every school, even if board is also suggesting. Even though if I talk about robotics was it has come few years back, but as the board or the education system has not implemented that particular robotic subject as a subject in the curriculum, so that much interest was not found or school did not implement it. But now, as I feel the CBSE board has also introduced, I think there will be interest, and a lot of people, there is a craziness to include AI or machine learning, IoT, all in their respective schools.
right, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, and really got very good insights from you on different questions.
So nice of you. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure that I have been connected, and I strongly believe the education which in the way you are taking up, the interest which you are taking up, it is a praiseworthy, and I congratulate and wish all the best for yours, even if the endeavors which you are doing it to come up in a very bright way. Let God give you a lot of courage to do good things in this world.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Same here.